What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another LEGO YouTube video. Today we're going to be discussing kind of one of the more controversial takes in the LEGO community, and that's whether or not LEGO has gone downhill in the recent years. And so in order to actually provide a decent opinion for that, I kind of want to take a look back at some of the older LEGO releases and compare them to some of the more recent LEGO sets to just see how they stack up and see if it really has kind of declined like so many people say it has. In my opinion, I feel like it hasn't, because of recent years we've gotten some really cool sets such as the 2023 LEGO Avengers Tower, and we've also got some other cool sets like the Lion Knight's Castle, and LEGO just continues to innovate every single year when they introduce new elements and of course new sets. Like, we get some really cool ideas like the LEGO Stranger Things Upside Down, which is something I feel like we definitely would not have gotten back 10 years ago, but we also do get a fair share of kind of mediocre slash bad sets, and I feel like a good example of this is the Coruscant Guard gunship. It sacrifices a lot of details, I feel like, and just doesn't really look as good as it could be. And also with the mech lineup too, I feel like those are just very lazy sets that sell only because of the minifigures, and I'm not really the biggest fan of those either. So let's just go ahead and start this off by comparing two similar sets from very different time periods, and we're going to start this off with the Jabba's Palace and the Boba Fett's Palace from 2012 and 2022. And I feel like seeing both of these sets side by side, I feel like the Boba Fett's Palace just falls short a whole lot compared to the 2012 version of Jabba's Palace, because the only compelling part, in my opinion, is the throne. I feel like the 2012 version of Jabba's Palace just does a way better job with all the details, and it just looks much more menacing, I feel like, for Jabba, and it's just way better designed, I feel like, in my opinion. The exterior details look a whole lot better, and it's just a very intimidating looking model, and I love the minifigures selection too. The minifigures are a whole lot more memorable, which I cannot really say for Boba Fett's Palace. You only get really 3 main characters inside of the set, as opposed to the palace having much more memorable additions to it. And I feel like just from the build standpoint, the 2012 version just looks way more impressive. The 2022 one just really isn't that good looking, in my opinion, but I feel like the opposite is true for the 2012 Lex Luthor mech, and I think the 2018 version of Lex Luthor's mech, you're kind of able to see with them side by side that there's just a whole lot more detail in the kind of modern rendition of Lex Luthor's mech compared to the 2012 one. The 2012 one still holds up today, but you can just really see where it's shown its age. It looks a whole lot more simplified, it uses way less pieces, and it just doesn't nearly look as good when it's right next to its 2018 counterpart. It's still a good looking set, but sometimes simplicity isn't really the best thing that you want in a LEGO set. And I feel like this definitely isn't a bad set, but it just hasn't really aged the best, in my opinion. So I feel like the 2018 one definitely looks a whole lot better. So I feel like this is one of those examples where LEGO has definitely taken a step in the right direction and it's not really gone downhill. But let's go ahead and get into one of our main topics. So I wanted to start off kind of this big comparison with LEGO Star Wars, which I feel like is one of the most beloved themes by LEGO fans everywhere. And so I thought first I would go ahead and gather up a lot of sets from the 2010 era all the way up till about 2014, just to kind of see how the LEGO Star Wars sets have evolved. And the first one is the 2014 LEGO Star Wars Droid Tri-Fighter. I feel like today this is still a great set, and I also really like the minifigures included too. The Chancellor Palpatine and Buzz Droid look great, and especially with this 2012 Y-Wing, I feel like it really has aged greatly. It's a very simple set, but it still looks good here in 2024. However, when you look at the minifigures, definitely not nearly as detailed, but the actual model of the Y-Wing, what you were mainly buying this set for, definitely still holds up, especially when you compare it to the recent Y-Wing that we got as part of the Yavin 4 set. Granted, this is more of a side build and not like an actual main set, but still the 2012 one looks a whole lot better. But the minifigures that are included in the Yavin 4 set are definitely a lot more detailed than the older ones, and I feel like with the Hoth Wampa Cave you're also able to kind of see this. First off, the Wampa Big Fig is the only exception to this. It's a really nice looking figure, and I feel like the Wampa Cave is definitely very simple, but it's a unique LEGO set, and we haven't really gotten one since then, and I love the Wampa. But I feel like the Luke Skywalker minifigure included in the set is very simple and definitely looks very terrible when you compare it to the more recent Luke Skywalker. But when we take a look at the 2013 Jabba's Sail Barge, which is actually the most recent rendition of this set, you're still able to see it kind of has more of a simple look. It doesn't have as many unique elements like we see in 2024, but it's still a nice looking set. It has a nice interior, and I also really like the minifigure selection, which is one area I feel like older LEGO Star Wars has a little bit of an advantage of with the recent LEGO Star Wars minifigures. First off, there's leg printing in almost every minifigure, and as we can see with some of these more modern LEGO Star Wars minifigures, there's not really much leg printing. However, a lot of modern LEGO Star Wars minifigures still do have leg printing, just not nearly as many minifigures have it as they should. But I feel like the more kind of pressing issue with these guys is the lack of the cloth capes that we see with the LEGO Star Wars minifigures. They've kind of ditched the cloth commas for the kind of, or I should say pauldrons for printed ones, which is definitely a downgrade in my opinion, and I feel like the older LEGO Star Wars minifigures did a way better job detailing the minifigures because of the cloth kind of pauldrons and capes that they included in them. Another thing to kind of compare with LEGO Star Wars are the old UCS sets and the more modern ones. First off, I feel like the big UCS set that everybody loves to quote and kind of like say is the best LEGO Star Wars set is the Ewok Village, and it definitely is a great set. It's got a bunch of unique features, like I love the rope bridge, and I feel like the greenery also looks really great with this set, and it really has aged well. I love all of the details with this set. It's a very nice looking set 11 years later, but I feel like when you compare it to some other kind of modern LEGO Star Wars UCS sets, you don't really see LEGO Star Wars taking a step in the wrong direction. Like, this is one of the more modern renditions of the UCS Star Wars set, and it's of course Mos Eisley Cantina. And while I definitely prefer the Ewok Village, I feel like this is definitely a step in the right direction. It's something new, and it gives us a lot of detail for this kind of like Master Builder series set. Also to consider with LEGO Star Wars is, I feel like today we are getting more of these kind of massive LEGO Star Wars sets that we weren't really getting 10 years ago. Like we have the UCS Millennium Falcon, Razor Crest, and of course the highly anticipated UCS Venator, which we just weren't getting nearly as much of in 2013. We got a few UCS sets, but I feel like they weren't just, there were less of them and they weren't as high quality, I feel like, as today's LEGO Star Wars UCS sets. So I feel like in terms of like that area, we've definitely taken a step in the right direction, but I feel like LEGO Star Wars isn't really perfect. I feel like the minifigures some have gone up, some have gone down. I don't like the lack of waist capes that we've been getting recently, but I feel like so far, I feel like LEGO Star Wars definitely is taking a step in the right direction, especially recently with the more kind of Clone Wars LEGO sets and more details. I like the remakes that we're getting of some sets, but there are still a few kind of mediocre sets like the gunship, and when you compare the Bounty Hunter gunship to the Justifier, especially with price, I feel like the older LEGO Star Wars is a whole lot better. So I feel like both kind of eras definitely have their pros and cons, but I feel like for the most part, I feel like there's just way more variety with modern LEGO Star Wars sets. There's more for everybody. They kind of cater to all the different audiences. There's original trilogy sets, there's the Disney Plus shows and everything, but now moving on to kind of a bit of a less controversial take, I feel like, with how LEGO has aged over the years is with LEGO DC, or should I say LEGO Batman now. So I feel like back in the day, LEGO DC was a great theme. We got some really cool sets like the ones pictured here. I love the classic LEGO Batman 2 sets, and we even saw an era where we got sets that were not only based around Batman. We got some Justice League sets and some Superman sets, and we have an all-star cast of minifigures included in those sets that you just wouldn't see today, as mainly it is just Batman-themed sets. And I feel like Batman is a solid superhero. He's actually my favorite superhero, but it's good to get sets that aren't just Batman. The Batman sets we do get are pretty cool. I love all the UCS sets. I especially love the Batcave Shadow Box, but I just feel like I really enjoyed the diversity of the LEGO DC superheroes theme that we had back in the day to just the Batman-focused theme that we have now. Don't get me wrong, I love Batman. I just like seeing more than one superhero for an entire sub-theme of superheroes, but that's just me. And then moving on to Marvel, I feel like we've also taken a step in the right direction for Marvel. I feel like back in the day, there were definitely some great sets. I love the Web Warriors Bridge Battle, the 2014 X-Shy, all great LEGO Marvel sets, but I feel like recently these kind of UCS LEGO Marvel sets have really done a good job. I love the kind of Captain America shield, the Mjolnir, and the Infinity Gauntlet, and I feel like these Guardians of the Galaxy sets also look really good too. Not to say the ones from 2014 were bad, I just feel like these ones have a whole lot more detail in them. And then we also get these kind of like larger scale sets too, like the Avengers Tower, which of course definitely is not perfect, but looks really good. And then we also have the Daily Bugle and the Sanctum Sanctorum, which are definitely a step in the right direction for LEGO Marvel, as I feel like those are just very impressive sets. But LEGO Marvel is not it's not exempt from the bad minifigures. Like, there's some exceptions like Vision and the CMF series, but I feel like one thing LEGO Marvel struggles with is having leg printing on their minifigures. The older minifigures, I feel like having a lot more leg printing, and for the most part are a lot more detailed, which I feel like is kind of weird to say, but that's just one of the flaws with LEGO Marvel. And don't get me wrong, I love most of the new sets, but that's also not to say that like LEGO Marvel doesn't have its fair share of bad LEGO sets too recently. I feel like for the most part, the theme has taken a step in the right direction. So I definitely like what we are getting, but there definitely are a few terrible sets mixed in there. Like, for example, the Black Panther War on the Water set, a set only good for the minifigures. The Wolverine mech armor and all the other mech sets are kind of meh. And then the new X-Jet, I feel like, is another kind of example of like how LEGO Marvel has kind of dropped off. You could even say the same for the Black Panther set, though I would disagree. But another area that I feel like is not really controversial for how LEGO has evolved is with the modular buildings. I feel like when you take a look at this old pet shop townhouse, I feel like it looks good, but it's definitely a bit dated and does not compare to the new museum and some of the other modern LEGO modular buildings, as they've just been able to use so many more new elements that have been introduced over the years, and they just look a whole lot more cleaner. There's, of course, exceptions, of course, like with the Parisian restaurant and some other LEGO modular sets, like especially the detective's office, I think also looks really good here in 2024, but I feel like for the most part, they've had more parts at their disposal that they're able to kind of use to detail the sets, and I feel like as time goes on, the modulars just get more and more impressive over the years. And another thing I really like about modern LEGO that I think is really kind of taking it in the right direction, I guess, is that the diversity of sets we're getting is just way better than it was 10 years ago. Like, 10 years ago, a Hocus Pocus set would have been unheard of. Even a Home Alone set. LEGO Ideas didn't even exist 10 years ago. So I feel like it would have been really cool to, it is cool how we still get all of these new LEGO sets. Like, we have LEGO Mario sets now, which is definitely a step in the right direction. And there's also the Starry Night, which is another great LEGO Ideas set. And then you have the LEGO Icons theme with the Hokusai Great Wave, which I think is another great set. And you even have the Botanical Collection too, with the Bonsai Tree and several other LEGO sets too. So like, I feel like LEGO is definitely taking a step in the right direction with those. And I feel like these sets that they have remade also look really cool too. Like the Leonid's Castle, kind of a love letter to the classic medieval theme, looks great. But there are some other cool sets from back in the day too, like the Haunted House and the Grand Emporium, but I feel like they don't really catch your eye as much as some of the kind of more modern LEGO sets, because they just look more impressive. They've had more time to kind of make the models look better, and I really just appreciate how there really is something for anyone with LEGO sets. Now, granted, I feel like that has come at a cost, as LEGO is, I feel like, as unaffordable as it could be here in 2024 with prices going up like all the time, but I feel like that's a price I'm willing to pay for more diverse LEGO sets, as there truly is something that caters to everybody. There is something for everybody. We've got botanical plants, we've got the Starry Night, we've got castles, we've got modular buildings, and they've even revived old LEGO themes like Harry Potter too. So while LEGO definitely isn't perfect here in 2024, I wouldn't really say that it's declining. In my opinion, I feel like it's different for every LEGO theme that you look at, but for the most part, excluding like LEGO DC, I feel like LEGO really is taking a step in the right direction. Even if it is super expensive here in 2024, I feel like you can't really put a price tag on what you like, and you especially can't put a price tag on good quality. So for my 2 cents, I feel like I really like the direction that LEGO is going in, but they are not perfect, and they definitely do have their flaws. But let me know down in the comments what your opinion is on this. Is LEGO declining here in 2024, and do you miss the quote-unquote golden era of these LEGO themes? Definitely let me know, but thank you so much for watching, and we will see y'all in the next one.